Hello and welcome to Crew Call with the Scooters. I'm so excited to introduce our next guest. I have Carey Harris here with us, and she is the CEO of Literacy Pittsburgh. So welcome, Carey. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Courtney. It's a pleasure to be with you.
We are very excited. So what we want to do is, first of all, Literacy Pittsburgh is an incredible organization here in Pittsburgh. So why don't you give us a little background on the mission and what you guys are doing over there?
Sure. Well, Literacy Pittsburgh's mission is an elegant statement. Our mission is to better lives through learning. We are an adult education provider serving residents in Allegheny and Beaver counties. Our students are those that have been left behind, those who have just arrived, and we say those who do not give up on the American dream. So that means they are immigrants and refugees, they are American-born residents that, for whatever reason, either did not get a high school diploma or they got one but feel that they need to brush up their skills in order to pursue job training or post-secondary education. So those are our people. We are honored to serve them and to really help them stage their comebacks here in this region.
That's incredible. And so you said you support Allegheny and Beaver County, and I'm sure it ebbs and flows, but how many students do you have at one time typically?
In a given year, we will reach about 5,000 people, but adults in our core programs, it'll be about 2,500.
Wow, that's incredible. And is it a full year that they're in there, or can it be longer? Just depend on like where they are?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I love about our work is that we respect students where they are, and because they're adults, they set the pace, they set the goal. So they can be with us as long as it takes for them to get where they want to go, and they decide how intensely they're going to study with us and how frequently. So some students will be with us 3 or 4 months. Some students will be with us 3 or 4 years, and everything in between. Depends on what they're trying to get accomplished. And we know that more than half of our students are raising children. Wow. And they're working, sometimes multiple jobs. So when they come to Literacy Pittsburgh, they're really demonstrating a lot of tenacity and grit.
Absolutely.
But they're also managing lots of multiple serious responsibilities. And so they're fitting their own education into the mix.
That's incredible. And we'll get into this in more detail, but I know because of COVID, and I'm sure the way of teaching and learning has changed a little bit, but prior to that, was it an in-class learning experience that I would actually come to attend, or is it virtual, or kind of like an ebb and flow on both of those?
So we have, our delivery model has 2 types. In normal times and in COVID, about 65% of our students are taught by a classroom teacher. In normal times, most of our classroom instruction happens at our downtown center, which is on 7th Avenue in downtown Pittsburgh. We also have offices in Beaver County where we do some classroom instruction. And sometimes we have 9 sites around both counties, so sometimes in the other sites. So that's about 65% are taught in a classroom setting. The other 35% are taught by a volunteer tutor. And this is what I love. I love to talk about our volunteer tutors. Last year, we had about 570 some volunteers who worked for about 5 hours a week, one-on-one or in small groups with adults who were either learning English or they were studying for a GED or to get into community college or something like that. So it's a significant commitment of time. I always think about our volunteers standing on the moral arc of the universe, bending it towards justice, right? These are good people, and it just, I think, really serves to reinforce my belief in humankind and the goodness of people. Yeah.
And are these volunteers like retired teachers? Were they in education? Did that matter, or is it just people who want to get out there and make a difference?
So volunteers, sometimes they're former teachers, but it's not necessary. They need to either have a bachelor's degree or be pursuing a bachelor's degree. But we have accountants, lawyers, all sorts of people. A lot of times people will either be at the end of their career or wait until they're retired because it's such a significant commitment of time. Sometimes we'll have tutors that are in graduate school or they're young professionals before they've started their families. And so our volunteer core base is usually on either end. But they do have a training. Right now, that training is all happening online. And then we provide them tons of support. So they work with a coordinator. We have a specialist that can help them build lessons and support their students. And here's the great thing. These people not only are such good people and so generous with their time, but they get pretty much the same results for students that our classroom teachers do.
That's incredible.
Right? So, because we monitor the gains, right? We do assessments and we see that those students are growing often at the same pace that students in the classroom are. So it's a great option. It's a great option for a volunteer gig for sure. And it is a great option for students that really feel like they need the one-on-one attention.
I'm sure. And so I know you said a lot of it's English and the GED. Are those like the two main focuses, or is there other courses that the students can sign up for, reading, things, writing, different types of things like that?
Yes, right. So we teach reading, writing at all different levels for all different kinds of students. We also teach citizenship. So students that are immigrants can come with us and prepare for the citizenship tests and interview. We teach a variety of English at a variety of levels. Preparing for the GED includes math, social studies, science, and reading. But we'll teach reading, math in a number of different settings and levels.
And it is a free program too, right? I believe
it is free.
That's incredible. Wow.
Right.
That's amazing. So I'm sure, having the volunteers and, dealing with so many students a year, I mean, that's a huge feat for your organization. And my question is first of all, do you see a lot of people coming out of the program, maybe students coming back and volunteering or getting involved in it after they're done? Have you seen that?
A little bit.
Yeah.
We see some of it. Often people are then they're able to get a better job or whatever, and they're raising their family. So we don't always see a ton of their time. They don't always have a ton of time to give. But we do occasionally have a student that gets engaged beyond their own study with us. They definitely refer people.
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask, do you have to do a lot of, is it a lot of referrals that students know about you, or how do you get the word out there and the message out there about the organization?
So until this year, we didn't do any student recruitment advertising, right? Students found us largely from other students, but also from human service agencies and a vast network of partners we have throughout the region. They know about us, they refer people to us. This year we did a little advertising. Maria oversaw that, mostly online, because we knew COVID was presenting new barriers. We were trying to target the newly unemployed because those are our people, that low wage workforce that we lost so much employment so far in this pandemic. So we wanted to target them also, and also people that were willing and interested to study online, because we had to move everything online. But that was the first year we did student advertising. Mostly they find us.
That's incredible. And
we always have a waiting list.
Wow, that's great. I mean, it shows that how many people really need something like this. I think, sometimes it's not thought of as like, wow, this is a really big need, especially at times like this, and to further educate and to, I believe, what did you say the mission, or I think Maria said to us, it's to find them a better, it's not just, it's not just learning reading and writing. It's so much larger than that.
Right, because it is the lever that makes everything else possible, right? When you are educated, right, then you can start to interpret the world around you and decide where you want to work, what career you want to pursue, how you want to live your life. It makes everything else possible. That's why this country has tried to invest so much money.
Right, absolutely. And hear a little bit about you. You've been the CEO, I believe, since 2018. Am I correct on that?
Correct. Yeah, so just a little over 2 years.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. You've had to deal with a pandemic and everything in your first 2 years. Now, what is your background? Are you from education, or where?
Yeah.
Give us a little background on that.
So this is my fourth nonprofit leadership job. So mostly I know how to be a nonprofit executive. Mostly that's my expertise. I started my career in community development. I worked for about 10 years doing local community development, and then switched into education. I did K-12 advocacy at A-plus schools for about 12 years. Then I ran the Governor's Early Learning Investment Commission, which was a statewide group of business leaders advocating for young children. And then I came here to Literacy Pittsburgh. So I've done K-12, early learning, and now adult ed. So even though it hasn't been my whole career, it is a passion area for me.
Right, all aspects of it, all ages, which is, I'm sure you can see some similarities, but huge differences as well when it comes to that.
Right.
And in having COVID, a couple questions on that. One is, how have you guys had to shift, besides it being virtual, but have you dealt with any technology barriers trying to get in front of people who may not have access to a computer or internet? How has that been challenging for you?
That's been enormously challenging. I've been thinking about, like, I don't think anybody's job is the same today as it was a year ago, right? I don't think anybody that works, their job is the same.
True.
And that couldn't be more true for all of us at Literacy Pittsburgh, especially our instructors who've had to figure out how to teach online. But think about who our students are, right? Digital literacy is a barrier, broadband access is a barrier, and equipment is a barrier. And so we have persisted, and our students have mostly persisted. Our teachers and tutors went the extra mile, actually talking through how to get on a Zoom call on your phone.
I'm sure, right, absolutely.
They did tutoring by phone. They did tutoring by FaceTime. A lot of students are logging into class on their phone. So there was a lot in the early days of like scrambling to figure out how are we going to do this given who our students are. Our teachers started making YouTube lessons. So that was a very flat platform, but it was something everybody could access, right? It was a little easier to access than getting on a Zoom call. But then we started to transition into synchronous classes through Zoom. And we were blessed with an investment from BNY Mellon Foundation, where we were able to invest in equipment to loan to students. Right. So we created tech lending, and then we have some resources to support students that need broadband access, but we have found, so many people in the region have stepped up to provide that access as well. So because so many of our students have kids, they have now access because of schooling or whatever. Right. So we have been overcoming those, but there's still barriers, right? They are still barriers, and they are slowing us down for sure. Even just getting new students enrolled, everything just takes longer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't imagine. And what do you see for the next year? 2021, we're hoping to see vaccinations coming, but there's still going to be that time. What are you planning for this next year? Are you educating more teachers on how to train on this level, or what are you thinking for this year?
Well, that's a great question. So we definitely, we've made a big investment in digital literacy, not just to get through the pandemic, but because we know it is the frontier of all work going forward. So whether you want to apply for a job or do almost any job, you need some level of digital literacy. So we have a digital literacy fellow on staff. She was just appointed in September. She's one of our teachers that is out of the classroom for the year, that is really doing a deep dive and helping coach and support other teachers in their own digital literacy, and then incorporating more digital literacy into our lessons. So we're going to be outfitting our offices, our classrooms with more equipment and technology, so that even when we're back in class, we can really help students focus on digital literacy. So I would say, we're doing it now, and we're prepared that this is going to be the thing going forward. Secondly, the other thing we're doing and preparing for is we have not taken our foot off the gas in some of our new initiatives, which I'm pretty proud of. We've made a shift as an organization to do a better job connecting our work to workforce, to the development, and to getting our students into the workforce development pipeline. So job training programs and good jobs. And so we have some nice partnerships that we are still engaged with and are actually building and growing as we move through the tail end, what I hope is the tail end of this pandemic.
Absolutely.
And beyond. I can tell you about one of them that I'm particularly excited about. So one of the new partnerships we have is with the Builders Guild of Western Pennsylvania. They are running a pre-apprenticeship introduction to the building trades, construction building trades. And the people that get through that pre-apprenticeship program are ready to take the apprenticeship exams, and they're guaranteed a job.
Oh my
So
God.
we've been partnering with them. We're teaching math as part of the program. But this year we're launching a new program with them that will be for people that don't have a GED or a high school diploma. So they will be pre-apprentices and be pursuing a GED. So when they get out, they'll have a GED, they'll be ready for the pre-apprenticeship exam, and they'll have a job.
That's incredible.
Right, and these
Congratulations.
Are
yes. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge, and what a great life skill too to learn. You have that for life then.
Right, and this is one that has been fairly recession resistant. Construction and the projections of growth are significant for the industry over the next decade. So, and the industry is very interested in diversifying its workforce, and they have a great need. And so this is a great example of how we can help fill a need and really give these tenacious, never give upper students we have a great opportunity.
Well, that's the stories you want to hear. That's what we all need more of right now, I think.
Right.
And what do you see in terms of the students once they finish, the success rate of finding a job or furthering education? What does that look like?
So we definitely, we have goals around increasing all of those numbers, but we have pretty good outcomes with students retaining and attaining employment. The ones that can. Some of our students, are immigration status won't allow them to work. And our post-secondary, we probably see anywhere between 50 and 100 students a year make a post-secondary transition. And we're really focused on increasing. I'd love it to be half of our students someday, right? Or maybe everybody. We'll get there.
But everyone's goals are different, when it comes to that. So I think that's what's great about the organization. It's like you understand and you meet people where they are. So my goal might be very different from what your goal would be in the end. So
right, exactly. And then thank you for appreciating that. It is really, when you're an adult, you have to drive your pace.
Yes.
And you get to decide where you're going. So that's what we respect.
That's great. And we always like to tell, if I wanted to get people to get involved, either if you need donors or if you need volunteers, like what would be the best way to get involved with the organization?
We always need volunteers and we always need donors.
All right.
It has, we always have a waiting list, mostly because students want tutors. We can get students in the classrooms pretty quickly, but if you want a tutor, often you're going to wait. So people are willing to tutor remotely via FaceTime or Skype or Zoom. We always need tutors. We're also, just like everybody, dealing with a lot of financial uncertainty because of the pandemic.
Right.
Our donor base has so far been really generous, but just like everybody else, this is more expensive than regular business.
Absolutely.
And so our costs have grown as I think, the demand for our services has grown, and we really expect that in the next few years, we'll be picking up all these kids that might not have been able to persist through the end of high school.
Right. No, it's true. You're right.
Yeah. And we're worried about all these, all our neighbors that have lost work over the pandemic. Lots of them have already come to us, but we expect that this will be an opportunity for some people to reset and come back and get that high school diploma or get ready for the placement test at community college or what have you.
Yeah.
So all that's to say is I expect demand will increase. And so always volunteers and resources are needed to meet the increased demand.
Absolutely. And we find all of that on your website? If we put the link on there, would that all of the information down there? Okay.
Great. Yeah. And it's very easy to find. Thanks, Marie.
Yes, we will make sure to post that. Carey, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. You are doing incredible work. And thank you again for everything that you are doing.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. It was really nice talking with you.
It's nice talking to you too. Thank you.